Hi, I'm Traci Copeland, and this is Good Moves with Well+Good. Today we're gonna do a hip opening sequence. Yes, a hip opening sequence that's gonna focus on opening up those hips, getting rid of some tension, but we're also gonna work on building strength, especially in our piriformis and our medial glutes. So important for any type of workout. You guys ready to get started? Let's go ahead and flow. So you're gonna start lying all the way up down on your back, bringing the soles of your feet together in sort of a Savasana position. So reclining Shavashna with butterfly. We call this Badakanasana. So close your eyes here. Just allow gravity to just sort of naturally open your hips and just allow your body to be heavy on the mat. Just focusing on your breath, focusing on your inhales, focusing on your exhales. If this feels a little intense on your back or your hips, it's too much, you can always place a block or a blanket underneath both sides of your thighs. That just kind of gently ease your way into the hip opening sequence. And then we're just gonna go ahead and bring our knees together. We're gonna go into figure four, okay? So crossing my right over my left, making sure this foot stays flexed. That's gonna help protect my knee. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and just gently pull that thigh close to my chest. Try to keep my shoulders connected to the ground. Taking a few easy breaths here. And then let's go ahead and take it to the opposite side. Keeping that foot flexed, keeping that ankle sort of dangling right over the knee. Keeping your gaze up towards the ceiling. One more easy breath here. And then just go ahead and release. Now you're gonna cross your ankles, go ahead and rock it forward and backwards just a few times. On that third time, I'm gonna have you take it into a tabletop position. So on your hands and knees, fingers are spread. Now you're gonna go ahead and sink your hips back, look up towards the ceiling, and then curl your toes under, draw your chin to your chest. Inhale, heart opens. Exhale, release. And one more time, inhale, heart opens. Exhale, release. All right, let's go ahead and spread the fingers again, keep the toes curled, take it into downward facing dog. So just easing your way into downward dog, pedaling your feet one at a time, shaking your head, yes, shaking it, no. Just allowing you to open up the backs of the legs just naturally. And then just go ahead and shift into modified upward dog. Take it back into downward dog. Let's do that 4 more times. Kind of building up a little bit of heat here, getting the body nice and warm. And let's do one more. Getting a little bit more open in that chest, looking up towards the ceiling, and then taking it back. Now I'm gonna extend my right leg up into downward dog split. Open up the hip first, rotate the ankle a few times, and then straighten out that leg, square off the hips. Draw a knee towards nose, take it back. And again, knee towards your nose, kind of warming up that core. And knee towards your nose, hold right there. And then release your foot gently, right between your hands. Drop the back knee to the ground. Inhale, raise your arms all the way up, low crescent lunge. Now just allow yourself to settle into low crescent lunge. This is gonna stretch out that hip flexor. So important for just about everything you do, especially if you're a runner. You wanna make sure that those hip flexors are nice and open. Once you settle here, I'm gonna curl my back toes under and I'm gonna fire up that back leg and slowly rise all the way up into high lunge. So my hips stay square in my high lunge, arms reach straight up towards the ceiling. And then I'm gonna step forward into chair pose. Both knees are bent, sitting in that imaginary chair, and then ever so slightly sinking that tailbone under, arms reaching up. Then I'm gonna cross right leg over left, holding right here. Getting into that piriformis like we did when we were lying down, and then come all the way up to stand, arms by your side, Tadasana. Inhale the arms up, exhale down, lift, lengthen, flat back, release, forward fold, step it into high plank. We're gonna flow through our vinyasa, so that's lowering halfway down into chaturanga. Inhale into upward facing dog, take it back into downward dog. Now I'm gonna go ahead and take that left leg up, open up that hip, rotate the ankle, Draw the knee towards the nose. Take it back, downward dog split. Knee towards your nose. Downward dog split. Last time, knee to nose. Hold right here, really firing up the core. Step your foot forward, right between your hands. Drop the back knee. Inhale, rise the arms all the way up, settling into that hip flexor. Now, you wanna make sure that you're not super arched in that low back, so you really wanna isolate, focusing on that hip flexor joint. Relax through your shoulders. Curl the back toes under, fire up the back knee, and then step it forward. Coming right back into chair pose. Staying right here in that chair, and then crossing my left over my right. So we're also working on firing up the glutes and our balance here. Holding right here for one more breath, and then slowly rise all the way up, and then release down. Lift, lengthen, flat back. Release, take forward fold. Step it into high plank. Lower halfway, upward facing dog, and then downward facing dog. All right, second flow. Let's go. Right leg lifts, downward dog split. Step your foot forward, right between your hands. Ground the back heel, we're rising up 4. Warrior 1, hips stay square here just for a moment. Relax and soften the shoulders. On that next breath, slowly open it up into Warrior 2. Find your strength in your Warrior 2. Gaze is soft and steady over that middle finger. Straighten out that front leg. Adjust the feet if you need to. Reach forward till you can't reach anymore. Lower your hand down to your shin, your ankle, block, whatever you have access to. Main thing here is keeping the legs straight and strong, kneecaps lifted. We're gonna rise all the way up. We're gonna pivot. My toes are gonna turn out a little bit, like in sort of a second position. Elbows at about 90-degree angle. Goddess pose, holding right here, and then reach all the way up. And then goddess pose again, and reach all the way up. Last one, hold. This should be really getting those hips nice and open, especially those inner thighs. Make sure that tailbone is under. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and lower my hands to one side. I'm coming into Skandasana, another nice, deep inner thigh stretch. Now I can get pretty deep here. If you can't go quite as low as me, just go to whatever range works best for you, okay? Now I'm gonna go ahead and pivot to my opposite side. Low lunge reach, and then I'm gonna gently take my way into seated spinal twist. Sit nice and tall in your spine. Look over the opposite shoulder. Holding here for one breath. And then go ahead and turn facing the front of your mat. Unwind those feet, bringing the soles of your feet together in butterfly, just how we began. And then just walk your hands forward, releasing your head towards your feet. Soften your energy. Stay nice and relaxed here. If you want, you can always take a block and put it just right by your feet and release your head. Sometimes it's nice to have a little head grounding action just to soften your energy. One more breath here. And then slowly release. I'm gonna go ahead and cross your feet at the ankles. I'm gonna take myself into high plank. Lower halfway, we're moving through our vinyasa. Upward dog, taking it back into downward dog. Now we're gonna do that same thing except on the left side. So left leg is gonna lift, step it forward, right between your hands. Ground the back heel, rising up, taking Warrior 1, working to square off those hips towards the front of the mat, and then slowly opening up, Warrior 2. Holding Warrior 2, relaxing the shoulders, lots of energy, pushing through your fingertips, straighten out that front leg, adjust the feet as you need to, lower your hand down to your shin, ankle, whatever you have access to. Feel free to modify just as you did on the opposite side. One more breath, and slowly taking it all the way up. I'm gonna come right back into goddess pose. So taking the arms out to about 90 degrees, toes are turned out, and I'm just gonna take that little bit of a plie, and then palms face each other in high prayer. And again, nice little plie here, and reach up. And see if you can get a little bit deeper this time. Really getting into that hip joint. Hold right here for 3, 2, and 1. Let's go ahead and Skandasana one more time. Notice how my heel stays grounded, okay? You don't want to lift that heel off the ground. When I stay grounded in both feet, the leg that you're bending towards, that'll help get you a little bit deeper into the shape of that stretch. All right, now we're just gonna go ahead and reach the arm all the way up on this side. Let's go ahead and take that seated spinal twist once again. Taking a nice look over the opposite shoulder. And then go ahead and slowly unwind. I'm gonna take butterfly towards the center of the mat this time. This time I'm gonna take like a little bit of a wider diamond shape here, walking my hands forward, taking that release, forehead towards the ground. 1 breath here, and slowly release. Now walk your hands all the way back. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and pivot, coming right back into downward facing dog. Let's flow through, coming into high plank, lower halfway, upward facing dog, taking it back into downward facing dog. Now I'm gonna extend my right leg up into downward dog split, step my foot to the outside of my right hand. We're setting up for lizard here. So another deep hip opening portion of this flow. I'm gonna drop my back knee to the ground. I'm gonna make this more about flexibility. So I'm gonna bring one forearm to the ground. And if you can, if you're feeling really flexible and wanna take it to the next level today, you can drop both forearms to the ground. But if you are not there, you can just keep your hands right here. And that's gonna be your lizard pose. You wanna make sure that you hug your knee towards the midline of the mat. And wherever you are, just breathing every exhale, getting yourself a little bit deeper into the shape of your lizard pose. Now, turn your toes out just slightly so you have a little bit of space. And if you can, try to lower your forearms to the ground as you're creating space in that hip joint. You're gonna lift the back knee off the ground and work your way into forearm plank. Wouldn't be the yoga flow if we didn't find a little bit of strength in our practice. So I'm gonna hold it right here for just a little bit. Keeping your eyes forward past your fingertips. Holding right here for 3. Draw the lower abs in for 2. And 1. I'm just gonna go ahead and press myself into plank, step into downward facing dog. And we're just gonna go right into that opposite side. So left leg lifts. I'm stepping my foot to the outside of my left hand, drop the knee to the ground. And again, every side's gonna be a little bit different. So you might be more open on your left. You might need a little bit more work on that left side. Yoga is a lot of just information about what's happening in your body. So listen to your body, don't try to push it too far. You should feel pretty good and relaxed and be able to breathe through every single pose. Holding right here for 3, for 2, and 1. Pivoting that toe out just a little bit more, giving myself, my hip joint, a little bit more space. Once again, firing up that back knee and taking myself, gently ease your way into the forearm plank. Holding right here, shoulders are right over my elbows, really strong legs, core is engaged, soften your shoulders. Notice how my forearms are parallel. We're here for 3, for 2, and 1. Lower to the knees, and you get to relax a little bit. We're gonna hang out in child's pose. So what I'm gonna do in child's pose is I'm gonna make this a little bit more relaxing. Widen the knees a little bit, give your hips a little bit of space to relax. Forehead draws towards the ground, hips back towards your heels. And if you want, you can always place a block underneath your heels to your glutes. That's gonna just allow you to relax a little bit deeper into the shape of your child's pose, especially if you have really tight hips like I do. 1 more breath here, and we're just gonna start to wind things down now. Coming into our final little flow. So, going ahead and take it up into downward facing dog. Let's take that right leg up into downward dog split. I'm gonna slide my shin forward, setting myself up for Pigeon Pose. Flexing that front foot like we did earlier, helping protect my knee joint. Get nice and tall here first. And then when you're ready, just go ahead and walk your hands forward, releasing all of that tension and energy, and working to keep your hips square. And if you want, you can even put a block underneath your forearms or even to your head, allow you to get a little bit deeper. You can also place a block underneath that right hip if that feels pretty good. And one more breath here. And then slowly make your way all the way up. Framing that foot, take that leg up into downward dog split. I'm just gonna open up that hip just to shake it out a little bit. Maybe rotate that ankle. And then with that leg lifted, I'm gonna shift into high plank, lower halfway, upward facing dog. Take it back into downward facing dog. Let's go right away, opposite side. Left leg, bring that shin forward. Ease your way into that pigeon. Make whatever adjustments you need to. Make it feel right for your body. And yoga's not gonna be the same every single day, so really listen to your body. If this is feeling a little bit uncomfortable, then make those adjustments. Use the block if you need to. Walk your hands forward, holding right here. And again, noticing the difference between each side. One side's gonna be a little bit more open. Again, just more information about your body, more information of areas that you might need to work on. I know I need to probably work on my right side a little bit more than my left. Had some injuries there, so just make sure to listen to your body, what's happening here. One more breath. Get a little bit deeper into the shape of your pigeon on this exhale. And then release. Walk your hands back. Curl the back toes under. Send that leg into downward dog split. Open up through that hip. And that leg lifted. Lower halfway, upward facing dog, and take it back. Downward facing dog. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and look towards my hands, hop towards the front of the mat, and I'm gonna go ahead and separate my feet hips distance apart, a little bit more than hips distance apart, and I'm gonna slowly work my way into Malasana, another deep hip opener. So I keep both heels grounded and I place my hands in prayer. That's gonna help kind of manually open up those hips. Holding right here for 3, getting nice and tall in your spine for 2, and 1. Go ahead and lower your hands down. Now, if you want, you can do another Malasana, or if you're feeling super ambitious, you can go ahead, come onto your ball of your foot and start to shift your way into crow pose. So crow pose can be done maybe one leg at a time if you're new to it. Some people like to put like a little pillow here. They're afraid they might fall. So you can just kind of play around with that shape, really squeezing the abs in. And if this is not for you, then just stay with Malasana, totally fine. And then slowly make your way down. We're just gonna go ahead and come to a seated position. So I'm gonna extend both legs long, reach both arms all the way up, and reach forward. Flexing my feet, keeping my back nice and flat. Bring one arm around, and then bring the opposite arm around. Holding right here. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of open up my hips just a little bit so I get kind of another deep inner thigh stretch. So pressing this hand on my thigh and just kind of reaching up and over. And I'm gonna flex that foot just to have a little bit of strength there. Keeping my knee cap lifted. That leg is engaged. Now let's go ahead and take it to the opposite side. Bring this foot in, press on that inner thigh, and reach up and over. Kind of opening up through that chest. And then just go ahead and release. I'm just gonna go ahead and pivot this way since I'm already facing that way. And I'm just gonna slowly roll all the way down. Bring your arms by your side. Like I said, we're gonna also work on strengthening our glutes. So firing up the glutes, feet are flat on the ground, tailbone under, lift your hips off of the ground, coming into bridge pose. So you wanna make sure that you're not over accentuating your spine. You wanna keep the hips nice and level, not super archy in that lower back. Your gaze is up towards the ceiling. And then slowly make your way down. Bring your knees into your chest. Let's go ahead and bring the knees together at about 90 degrees, taking a little bit of a spinal twist here, looking over the opposite shoulder. Doesn't really matter which direction you go, whatever way feels natural. Just make sure that the knees and the arm are going the opposite way. And then go ahead and take the knees to the other side, knees at 90 once again. And then look over, opposite arm. Try to work the shoulder towards the ground. One more breath here. And go ahead and release. Come back center, give yourself a nice little hug. Hug the knees into your chest. And slowly release, one leg at a time, coming into your final resting pose, Shavasana. So you can take Shavasana with the legs extended, or you can go back to the same way you started, bringing the soles of your feet together in that sort of hip opening sequence. Maybe you feel the hips a little bit more open this time. And then just soften your energy. Let go of any lingering thoughts that you're holding onto. Every exhale just brings you a little bit deeper into the shape of your Shavasana. And a couple more breaths here. Really focusing all of your energy on your breath and your breathing. So if you feel like your mind's going someplace else, just come back to your breath. On that next breath, we're just gonna start to move fingers, toes, wrists, and ankles. Maybe even start to stretch out those legs, arms. Like someone were pulling you in opposite directions. So you wanna come out of yoga feeling taller than when you walked in. And then go ahead and bring the knees into your chest. Go ahead and take it to one side. I'm gonna roll over into my left side, fetal position, and then come all the way up to a comfortable seated position towards the front of your mat or center. Go ahead and close your eyes here for just one more moment, just taking these last few moments of your practice in. And then reach your arms all the way up to the ceiling, palms together in high prayer. Slowly lower your hands down towards the heart center, and then bowing all the way forward to seal, honor, and complete your practice. Namaste. Thanks so much for joining once again. My name is Traci Copeland, and this is Good Moves with Well+Good. I hope to see you next time. Want more good moves? Subscribe to Well+Good today.